Hello everyone. So here we are going to study about the general awareness for competitive exams. Okay. So whenever we are going to study about the general awareness for the competitive exams, we need to cover the basic topic first, starting from class 6 to class 10, or basically you can say up to class 10. Okay. And when we are going to study about the topics up to class 10, we start with these 7 topics as you can see here. First one is history, second one is geography, third one is art and culture, fourth one is civics, fifth one is economics, sixth one is general science, and seventh one is environmental studies. Okay, so we will learn about them one by one, starting from the history first. So the first question is, what do you mean by history? If someone asks you, what do you mean by history? What you will say? Here we can see the basic definition that history deals with the study of past events, civilizations, and the development of human society. Let's discuss this thing. Like if I say that you are seeing buildings, you are seeing a modern humans, you are seeing a technology, all these things were there in the starting. All these things. Just think about it. The answer is no. You have seen many movies in which we were showing like a past humans or like a humans living in the forest. That is the history. And what we are seeing today is the present. So you can say that history is basically a study of linkage of the past with the present. Okay. I know that you all must be aware about it. And if you're not, then you will be aware about it. Like humans are the descendants of the apes. Or you can say that we have been evolved from the apes or monkey clan. Have you seen a chimpanzee in the zoo and various areas? Okay. So the chimpanzees and the humans are very much similar when we talk about the genetical and DNA coding. Okay. So this event is also comes under history because how we were evolving and how we are today is just a matter of past. Got it? So when we talk about in this way of the history, then we have to study about the first thing. And you can say that from the first. First we were like, apes. Then we developed into pre-human. Then we developed into modern human. Got it? So starting with the apes, then come to the pre-human, and then come to the modern human. So we are living in this time today. But we have been evolved from pre-human and before that from the apes. Got it? Now, to understand it basically or to understand it firmly, we should do one thing. We should start our history from the evolution of humans first. Got it? Like first, we were Australopithecus. Okay, these were purely apes. Okay, you can see that they were the monkey or fully zombie, so not zombie, sorry, formerly chimpanzee type animals. Got it? And from after Australopithecus, we came to Homo erectus. Homo erectus, or you can say Pithecanthropus. Okay. So these are the things which we have to study if we are going to study about the human evolution. Okay. First one were the Australopithecus. The Australopithecus were completely apes or completely chimpanzee type creature. Thereafter, we come to Homo erectus, which were like a modern human today. Similar to modern human, not properly modern human. Their skull were large, their brain size was small, and their body posture was also tilted to front. Like we see the chimpanzees moving here around. So they were similar like that. Okay. And thereafter, we evolved further. And when we evolve further, we go to Homo sapiens. Okay. Then we came to Homo sapiens, which were very similar to today's human. Okay. So here we have gone through the evolution of the human first. Like it's a part of history. First we were like Australopithecus. Okay. Completely apes. Then we came to Homo erectus, Pithecanthropus. Were not like the early humans, were not like the modern humans, but were in the middle of Australopithecus and middle of modern human, you can say. Okay. Then we have come to Homo sapiens. These were like a modern humans, and also these were the early humans because they had a complete division. First division is Neanderthals. First division is Neanderthals, and second division is, you can say, Homo sapiens caecus. Got it? So these were the evolution. Now, after study about this human evolution, now we have to study about the other things as well. Let me clear it. So this is the division of human history or human evolution. Okay. But as we were developing, we have gone through so many changes, so many things, as we have to study in our history part as well. Okay. So history is also divided in some other forms if we have to study them in a depth. And what were these forms? Let's have a look over them as well. Okay. So basically history divided as prehistory, proto-history and history. Okay. Like as I have told you, history is all about the study of past. And if you want to study of past, then you must have the literature or you must have a sources to study about the past. Okay. So we have that sources. If you want to study about past, we have that sources as well. But these sources have been divided into three parts as I have told you here. Starting from pre, come to proto, then the history one. So what do you mean by prehistorical, proto-historical or historical part? Basically, as we were developing, we didn't develop our mind or we didn't have any language to speak or to communicate. So basically, we were recording our things which were happening on that time only by making drawings, only by making signs. And these things are called prehistorical things because we are unable to decipher them. We are unable to study them. These are only signs. Okay. So you can call this is a prehistorical phase. Got it? So now come to the proto-historical phase. So prehistorical basically means that the time period about which we didn't have any historical recorded source. Like if you want to study about them, you can't because there was no source to study about them. Okay, these conclude only drawing or these conclude only physical remains of the creatures or the skeleton studies. So these things are called under prehistorical. Let me give you an example. In the Africa, we found various skeletons of early humans, or you can say the Australopithecus to Homo erectus. Okay, these skeletons have been used to study about the human history. But can you study about the society? Can you study about the civilization? Can you study about the things that were happening there? No. You can only study about how we were on that time in the physical means, or by seeing the physical means, like if I have a large hand and if I have a big skull, so you can find me as a hunter and gatherer only. So okay, so by studying their physical means, we have to create their history, like what they had to do for living, all these things. Got it? But thereafter we have a proto-historical facts. What do you mean by proto-historical facts? Actually, we have a literature. We have a recorded things to study about them. But because of some things or some reasons, we are unable to study about them. This is called proto-historical. Let me give you an example. Basically, have you ever learned about, have you listened about Ellora and Ajanta caves? These caves are found in Maharashtra, basically hundreds in numbers. Okay, and out of them, some caves are open for the tourists. If you can go there and you can see the caves. These caves are famous for their rock paintings. Various drawings have been made on the walls of these rocks. These drawings could be used to study about the past events, but we are unable to study them because we are unable to see their signs. And we are going to study about the Indus Valley civilization in the history. There I will give you a live example of the deciphered scripts. Got it? Now come to the historical part. What do you mean by historical part? Basically, historical part contains two things. We have a literature, we have a sources, and we are able to study about them. So this is a historical part. Like today. Okay, if today you want to study about what happened in 1947 when we are getting our independence, then you can easily study about them because we have a literature sources, we have a archaeological sources, and we are able to study about them. We are able to decipher them, we are able to decoding the language. But when it comes to the proto-historical time period, we have things, but we are not able to study about them, we are not able to decode them, we are not able to decipher them. And when we come to the prehistorical, then we don't have anything like that to study about them. We have only physical means. Got it? So this is for literature division. Okay. After literature division, now we are going for further division of history. Okay. But before we start about further division, let me give you some key points which we need to study or which we need to remember. Got it? First thing is, if we are studying history today, so someone has started study of history, right? And who was him? He was Herodotus. Okay. He considered as father of history. He written a book of named Historia. Okay, and Historia is the first ever recorded literature which we considered as a beginning of history. And who did this? Herodotus. So Herodotus considered as a father of history. Okay, or then Leo de Vinci, he considered as father of modern history. Got it? Have you got it? Okay. Now come to next part. I have given you some points like who is considered as a father of history. Herodotus. He written a book Historia. Who is considered as the father of modern history? The answer is Leo de Vinci. Got it? Now, so these were the several decisions which you need to understand before we are going to study history. Okay. So here you can see that history covers ancient, medieval and modern periods. Ancient, medieval and modern periods. Got it? So what do you mean by ancient? What do you mean by medieval? And what do you mean by modern? And how you can study about them, how you can divide the time periods in ancient, medieval and modern time. Got it? So basically when it's come to India, we divide them as, first one is ancient. We divide them as from Indus Valley to Delhi Sultanate. Got it? Then for medieval, we divide them from death of Aurangzeb to Battle of Plassey, basically. Okay? No, sorry. It starts from, not from this. Start from Delhi Sultanate to death of Aurangzeb in 1707. For the modern part, start from 1707 to today. Got it? So this is a basic division of ancient, medieval and modern. Start from ancient, Indus Valley civilization to Delhi Sultanate. For medieval, Delhi Sultanate to 1707, the death of Aurangzeb, and for modern, 1707 to today. Got it? Now, so this was all about the basic intro of history before we start studying history in Indian context for competitive exams. Okay? Now, let's have a basic rule. It covers ancient, medieval, and modern. And what do you mean by these types? I have told you. Okay. Exploring the rise and fall of empires, significant historical figures, freedom movements, and socio-cultural changes that have shaped the world. Okay. As we have gone through many changes, happy and growth as a cultural societies, then we start making empires, then we start evolving ourselves, then we start making discoveries. And to study all together in a one single frame, we have to study about history. Okay, let's begin with the ancient history. So, ancient history, first topic is Indus Valley Civilization. Okay, so before starting the Indus Valley Civilization, let me give a basic introduction. Okay, Indus Valley Civilization was developed in the western part of India, comprising Afghanistan and modern day Pakistan, and somewhat region in present India also. Okay, and the evolution of this civilization could be divided into two forms called early civilization and called later civilization. Okay, and why we are going to divide these things, we have to know that this civilization extension in north south has also gone changes when we go for early to later. Let me give an example. In the early period, when we go for early period, okay, this time its north was Ropar, Punjab, on the banks of Satluj river. Then its south was at Bhaktaraf, at Bhaktaraf. Okay. Then, okay. So we need to study about their extension also. So let's start from here. Like the extension. In the early time, its north was at Ropar, on the bank of Satluj river. Its south was at Bhaktaraf. Okay. Its west was Alamgirpur. It was the east, and west was Sukta Gandor. Got it? Alright. Now, Bhaktaraf was at river Kim. Alamgur was at river Hindon. And Sukta Gandor was at river Daksh. Okay, so it was the earlier extension of Indus Valley civilization, starting from north, Ropar, Satluj, it was in Punjab. South, Bhaktaraf, river Kem, was in Gujarat. Alamgirpur, river Hindon, was near Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, in the North India. And west, Sukta Gandor, near river Daksh, it lies at Afghanistan border. Okay, Afghanistan-Iran border, you can say. Now, in the later times, Ropar was changed with Manda, with river Chenab. Okay, and then south changed with Daimabad, river Parvara. Got it? So here we have seen that when we talk about the earlier Indus Valley civilization, its extension was only up to North Punjab and in South up to only Gujarat. Its east was at Alamgirpur and its west was at Suktagando. But in the later time, its extension in the north got extended up to Manda. Manda lies at Jammu and Kashmir, okay, with river Chenab. And its south get extended up to Daimabad, Maharashtra, with river Parvara. But there was no change in Alamgirpur, eastern side, and Suktagando at western side. So we can say that Indus Valley civilization only expanded vertically, not horizontally. Got it? So here we have complete about a basic extension introduction of the Indus Valley civilization. Got it? Now the second question is, why do we call it Indus Valley civilization? Why? So the reason is, its civilization was developed near the river Indus. Okay, and due to this, it is called Indus Valley civilization. Second, its name is Harappan civilization, and it's also called as Indus Saraswati civilization. Okay, so these are the several names of this civilization: Indus Valley, Harappan, and Indus Saraswati civilization. Now let's have a look at introduction and discovery. The Indus Valley civilization, also known as the Harappan civilization, was one of the world's earliest urban civilization, dating back to around 2600 BCE, discovered in the earlier 20th century. Okay, so the Indus Valley civilization was developed around 2600 BCE and was discovered in the year of 1911 and 1912. Okay, when the Britishers were exploring the area, they found it, and then they discovered the Indus Valley civilization, which existed in its full form near 2600 BCE. Got it? Okay, so here we have to listen, and here we have to cover one thing also. What is the one thing which we need to cover here? It's like, what were the contemporary civilization with the Indus Valley civilization? As we have seen it, that it was one of the world's earliest. It was not the earliest, was one of the. So there were several other earliest Indus, you can say, civilization also. And what were they? So we have to study about them also. The first is our Indus Valley. Second one is our Chinese. Third one is our Mesopotamia, lies at Iranian-Iraq border nearby, and then Egypt. So these all four, it's 1, it's 2, it's 3, then it's 4. Okay, so these all four were the earliest civilization which developed contemporary to each other, and Indus Valley was one of them. Okay, so it was one of the earliest civilization, existed near 2600 BC and was discovered in the year of 1911 to 1912 first, when the Britishers were exploring the areas. Okay, and then they found it and then they discovered it. Got it? Now what about geographical extent? As we have already gone through the things, that it was extended in two forms, the earlier form and the later form. The earlier form starting with the North Punjab and comes to South Gujarat. Then the later form extended up to North Jammu and Kashmir and South Maharashtra. But the horizontal extent, the east and west boundaries were at fixed. In east Alamgirpur and west Suktagando. Got it? Now come to the major cities. As I have told you that the Indus Valley civilization, also called as Harappan civilization. And what was the reason behind it? Because Harappa was one of the first city discovered when the Britishers were exploring that area where Indus Valley was found. So they gave it the name Harappan civilization. Got it? So the Harappa and the Mohenjo-daro were the two major cities of this civilization. And when we have to study about the Indus Valley civilization, there was one thing which we need to keep in mind, that it was an urban civilization. Okay, there was a concept of urbanization, means there were industries, means there was shipping, means there were transportation facilities, and means there were economy, a developed economy. Okay. And Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, which we found there, was the well-planned cities with advanced drainage systems and impressive urban infrastructure. Here, I would like to add several points, like the Indus Valley was well known for several things, like they were well-planned, like they were advanced drainage system, and then they will have a urban infrastructure. Also, they will have unified weight system. They had good shipping system, and also they had a well sense of developing economy and seal making. And what do you mean by seal making? Like as in today, we see that stamp. If a person and if a company is dealing in market, then they have their distinct stamp. By seeing the stamp, you can conclude that this product or this thing belong to that person or belong to that company. Okay. In this today world, we practice it. Indus Valley people were practicing it on that time also. Okay. The merchants had their unique script, which they punch on the goods they are supplying to the other areas. And when the receiver receiving that goods, he could identify that from where that good has been shipped or had been shipped. Got it? Now, economy and trade. As I have told you, that Indus Valley people had a well-developed sense of economy. Okay, their economy includes several industries. And what was these industries? Let me tell you. They had industries like steel making, jewelry, ivory, shipbuilding. Then they also had like you can say clothing and other types. Okay, so they had a well-developed economy with well-developed systems. Okay, so we can also say that if they are producing these industries or these products in their economy, okay, so they were consuming it and also supplying it somewhere. And where they were supplying it? They were supplying it like the cities of Mesopotamia, like the civilization of Central Egypt, like a civilization of China in nearby areas. Okay, as I have told you that Indus Valley was not the earliest, but was one of the earliest civilization, and there were 4 civilizations existed on that time: Chinese, Mesopotamians, Egyptians, and the Indus Valley. Okay, and out of them, they had a well-developed trade with Mesopotamian civilization. Okay, and other parts of Indian subcontinent. Got it? Which were accessible by maritime trade or by land routes. Now, come to the next point. Script. So, remember I have told you about the proto-historical facts, like the script which we had, but which we are not able to decipher or we are not able to decode it. And Indus Valley civilization's script is one of them. Like we had their script, but we are unable to study about them. And what was the reason? Let me tell you. Their script only contains only contains signs about 400 to 500. Okay, that's the main reason we are unable to decipher their Indus Valley script, because they only contain signs. Like if you want to decipher it, you have to understand the signs, and these signs are in number around 400 to 500. Like you have to make a meaning of every sign, and then only you will be able to study about the Indus Valley script. Okay, so that is the reason we are unable to study about the Indus Valley script. Got it? Now, as we have come to know about the Indus Valley was well-developed economy, was well-developed civilization, had well-developed city with well-developed drainage system and other things. They had a well-developed maritime trade also. What was the reason behind the decline? So if we go through this, then there are several reasons which I'm going to let you know here. First reason is you can say earthquake. Second reason is drought. Third reason is Aryan invasions. Fourth reason is deforestation and desertification. Now, let's learn them one by one. First thing is that we said that earthquake was happened there. Due to this, their cities got destroyed and then they had to migrate several parts inside the India. And due to this mass movement, the cities got depleted and the Indus Valley civilization got ended. It's a one view when we go to the earthquake. Second is drought. We say that the Indus River and its tributaries changed their path, due to which the areas where the Indus people were living got dried. And due to this, they had to migrate to the other parts and the Indus Valley civilization got declined. Then Aryan invasions. Actually, Aryan invasion, we will learn about them in the next chapter. Sorry, not in the next topic of Vedic civilization. Okay. It is considered that the Aryans came to India. They destroyed and killed the people of the Indus Valley. And then they destroyed the Indus Valley civilization completely. Then deforestation and desertification. As the Indus Valley civilization was an urban economy, was an urban civilization, as we know that whenever the urbanization is happening, the deforestation happens parallelly, you can say. Okay. So we conclude that the Indus Valley were expanding, and due to this, the desertification and deforestation was happened, and the people had to migrate it because they were losing their natural resources. So these all are just a theory considered about it. And none of these theories is considered as a valid proof till now. And due to this, it is still a subject of debate among historians. Many historians claim that the earthquake made their end. Some claim the drought was there. Some claim the Aryan invasion. And some claims the deforestation and desertification. Clear? Now, come to the Vedic period. We have covered about Indus Valley civilization. Now come to the Vedic period. Okay. The Vedic period just started after the Indus Valley civilization, passing through several ages. Okay. And then started with Vedic period civilization. Also, we call it Gangetic civilization because it developed nearby areas of Ganga and other things. Okay. And this civilization is also divided into two parts. This civilization was also divided into two parts. First, early Vedic, up to Indus only. Second is later Vedic, up to Ganga river. Okay. So basically it is considered when the Aryans came to India, they first came to the western part. Western part is not like present day Rajasthan, and this western part comprised Afghanistan and Pakistan region as well when they were coming to India. Okay. And then they got settled to the Indus civilizations areas. Okay. And this gave a view that the Aryans were the ones who destroyed the Indus Valley civilization. Okay. And then when they get settled at the Indus rivers area, they started migrating into the inner parts, and then they came to the Ganga Valley or the northern plains. Got it? So this is basically a division of early Vedic and later Vedic. And also their society got changed in between, like the early Vedic to the later Vedic. Let's have a look over here. The Vedic period in ancient Indian history is a significant and formative phase, encompasses the time during which the Vedas were composed. Okay. So why this period called Vedic period? Why we called it Vedic period? This is a basic thing. Okay. So let's understand it one by one. This period is regarded as a Vedic period because the Vedas were written on that time. And what were Vedas? We will learn about them in this chapter only. Okay. But this civilization had a various cultural, social and religious development on the Indian society or the Indian people who were developing on that time. Got it? The period is generally divided into two main phases. The early Vedic period starting from 1500 BCE ending at 1000 BCE, and the later Vedic period starting from 100 BCE to 600 BCE. I have already told you that this period, early period, start from the Indus Valley civilization ending and then settling of Aryans at Indus Valley area. The later period start from the migration of the Aryans into the northern plains and settling down nearby the areas of Ganga and its tributary. Now comes to the next point. Aryan migration theory. Basically, there are two main theories which we need to learn about when we go for Aryan migration. And what were these two theories? The first main theory is Central Asian theory, given by Max Muller. Second is Arctic circle theory, given by B.G. Tilak. Okay, let me write it clearly. Arctic circle theory. Okay. So what were these theories? Basically, the Max Muller, he was a British historian. He claimed that the Aryans were the people living in the Central Asia. Then they migrated to the India in the east. Okay, it was his theory. The archetypal circle theory was given by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, or in short B.G. Tilak. He claimed that the Aryans were living to the North Pole and then they came to the India. North Pole doesn't mean that they were living in the North Pole. North Pole area means that they were living at the high latitudes, you can say. Got it? Now, what do you mean by this theory? The Aryan migration theory suggests that a group of Indo-European people known as Aryan migrated into the Indian subcontinent from the northwest, believed to have introduced the Vedic culture and Sanskrit language to the region. Okay, this theory is comprised the Central Asian theory given by Max Muller. Got it? The Arctic circle theory, as I have told you, was given by P.G. Tilak, and he claimed that the Aryans were living to the areas of North Pole and then they came to India. Got it? Now, Vedic texts. As I have told you, there's the Vedic civilization, or you can say that this civilization is called the Vedic civilization just because the composition of Vedic literature or the Vedic texts. Okay, so Vedas. Have you ever listened about them? What do you mean by Vedas? Vedas basically a religious and socialist book written down during this period. And these were basically 4 in total, named as Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda and Athurveda. Okay, let's learn about them one by one, what comprise in it. First is a Rig Veda. Rig Veda comprise hymns. You can say hymns and Purushukta. Total 10 chapters are there in Rig Veda. Got it? And Purushukta was the 10th one. You can say the last one chapter. Okay. And what comprise in Purushukta? I will tell you later. Second one is Samveda. Samveda basically deals with the music and art form or rituals, you can say. Yajurveda basically deals with sacrifices, or you can say yajnas or yagya, havan, basically you can say in Hindi. Then the Atharvedas comprise magical formulas to keep away evils. Got it? So these are the Vedas. Okay, remember one thing. Rig Veda, Samveda and Yajurveda were three initially created Vedas. Rig Veda is the first one and is the oldest written text. Oldest written text in the history of mankind. Before it, none is written like that. Then Atharveda. Okay. This Atharveda was not included in the Vedas in the earlier form. Okay. Atharveda got added into a list of Vedas later. Okay. And what comprised in these Vedas, I have told you there that these Vedas comprised these things: Rig Veda hymns, Purushokta, total 10 chapters, and Purushokta is the last one. Samveda comprised music and art form. Yajurveda comprised sacrificial yajnas, or you can say yagya, and Atharveda comprised magical formulas to keep away devils and evils. Got it? Now, the question is, what come in Purushokta? Purushokta. If you guys have a understanding mistake of the spelling, then you can match it from here. P-U-R-U-S-H-U-K-T-H-A. Purushokta. It comprises Varna. There are four words as Brahmanas, then Kshatriya, then Vaishyas, then Shudras. Okay. And what were these ones? We will learn about them in depth. First of all, we just need to have a overlook you can say on this. Brahmans, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These four words are described in Purushokta, which is a 10th chapter of Rig Veda. Got it? Now, let's go on further. So, what about the society and religion? The Vedic society was organized based on the Varna system, which categorized people into four main classes. The Varnas I have told you, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, these are mentioned in the Rig Veda in the chapter 10th called Purushokta. Got it? Now, so let's have a look on these Varnas. Starting from Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishya and Shudras. Okay. Now, who were Brahmins? Brahmins were the priests and scholars, you can say. Okay. And then the Kshatriyas, they were warriors and rulers. Then Vaishyas, they were farmers and traders. Then the Shudras, they were laborers. Okay. Now take an example of them. Like your teacher who are teaching you in the school. Okay. And like the writer who written a book, these all considered as Brahmins because they are either scholars, okay, and they are teachers. And if a person who is in charge of worship in the temple, it's called priest, and they are also a Brahmins. Got it? Now, who were Kshatriyas? They were warriors and the rulers. Like a king who is ruling somewhere is a Kshatriya. And the warriors or the soldiers who are fighting in the battles, they are also Kshatriyas because they come under the category of warriors. Got it? Then the Vaishyas. They are the farmers and the traders. Like the merchant you are seeing around you. Let's take an example of anyone who is trading. These things are called under Vaishyas. And the farmers who are doing farming in their agricultural land comes under the category of Vaishyas. Then the Shudras, they are the laborers and the artisans. They are the laborers and the artisans. This comes under the category of Shudra. Okay. And basis of these categorization, the society was composed of. Got it? Now, let's understand one thing here. As I have told you that the early and the later Vedic period got divided, and also I have mentioned a thing that between them, their society was also gone through several changes. And what were these changes? Let's have a look over here. First thing is that these categorization was not on birth basis, was on work basis in early time period. What do you mean by it? In the early time period, there was no system like on birth oriented basis. If a person is doing a scholarship, he is a Brahmin. His mother is working in a, you can say, in a farmland, then she will be a Vaishya. If her father or his father is working in administration, he will call the Kshatriya. And if his or her brother doing a laboring job, then we'll call the Shudra. So you can say that in one family, these all words can existed, because in the early time period, there was no system on the birth basis, there was system on the work basis. If the one is working in the school or working in a worship, he will be Brahman. If one who is a warrior or who is a ruler will be the Kshatriya. If one who is a farmer or in a trade, then he will be a Vaishya. And the one who is doing a laboring job or he was an artisan, then he will be a Shudra. Okay. But when they gone through the early to the later age, this system got ended and then it became a birth basis. If the father is Brahman, then the son will be Brahman. If the father is Kshatriya, the son will be Kshatriya. If the father is Vaishya, the son will be Vaishya. If the father is Shudra, then son will be Shudra. Got it? Later. Second thing is, in early Vedic period, widow remarriage was allowed. Widow remarriage was allowed, called Aguya. Got it? And second thing is, the cow was not allowed to kill, called Aganya. So in the earlier time, if the woman lost her husband, then she could have done second marriage. Widow remarriage was allowed. And second thing is, the cow was not allowed to kill. You cannot kill the cow. Okay, these were the things of early Vedic period. And also, one thing, in the early time, there was no child marriage. No child marriage was there in the earlier times. Okay. Now, come to the later time. Later Vedic period, what happened? First thing is that these birth bases came into existence and work bases got declined. Second, woman remarriage was not allowed. Third, this status of cow was there, but we have evidences that cow killing was prevalent. Cow killing was give me 1 minute. Cow killing was there. Okay. Second is, child marriage was in existence. In the first time, child marriage was not in existence, but in the later time period, child marriage was in existence as well. Got it? So here we have gone through about this society and religion. Now come to the one more point which I would like to tell you is that the Vedic deities worshipped through rituals and sacrifices were Agni, Varun, Indra, Som. So these deities or these gods were worshipped the most: Agni, Varun, Indra, and Som. And let me tell you one thing. Do you remember Max Muller? Remember him? He gave a theory, Central Asian theory, right? So what was the basis of this theory? How did he make this theory? And how did he say that the Aryans were migrated from the European area to the Indian area? Because of the, let me write it here, Bog Haskoi inscription, also called Asia Minor. Got it? Bog Haskoi inscription founded at Turkey. This founded at Turkey region at, you can say, Central Asian region. Okay. And how, on the basis of this inscription, which we called it Asia Minor also. Okay, if the question comes, then please remember that these tools are the same. Bog Haskoi inscription, also called the Asian Minor inscription, and it is found in Turkey. You can say that Turkey, and lies at Central Asian theory, and the theory was given by Max Muller. Okay, so now the question is, how did he make the theory on the basis of Bog Haskoi, on the basis of Asia Minor? The simple reason is that because these gods, you are seeing here, Agni, Varun, Indra, Som, okay, these gods had a mention on that particular inscription. Like on the Bog Haskoi inscription, these are mentioned, and these are the gods whom worship were done in the Vedic period. So Max Muller claimed that because these gods had a mention at the Bog Haskoi, like India is this side, Turkey is this side, and Indian gods mention had this side also. So there is a possibility that the people whom we call Aryans have or had moved from Turkey to India, and it was the basis of Max Muller, and that's why this theory is supported by many scholars that the Aryans get migrated from Turkey to India or from Central Asia to India. Got it? Now come to the next point. Sacrificial rituals. As I have told you, in the Yajurveda, there is a mention of yajnas or the sacrificial prayers. Sacrificial prayers. Okay. And what was the importance of these yajnas or sacrificial prayers? Actually, it was a belief, and it is also a belief even in today, that if you perform these particular exercises or religious exercises of yajna or havan, or you can say sacrificial prayers, then the God will have a mercy on you, the God will bless you, and you will have a good life. Okay. And the rules and regulations of performing these things, or you can say performing these sacrificial prayers, are mentioned in Yajurvedas. Got it? And now we can see that sacrificial rituals known as yajnas played a central role in Vedic society. They were performed by Brahmin priests and involved offerings to the various deities to seek their blessings and ensure the proper functioning of the universe. And basically these were done for two things, or you can say the three things. One is additional. It's like for santan, dhan, and grah. Like for having a baby, like for having a money, or like for having a good life, or like having a spiritual life. Okay. So these three were the main concentrant of the prayers of yajnas, or you can say the sacrificial prayers. Got it? And two of the main yajnas of these types are, you can say, let me write it down there, Rasyu Yag or Ashwamedh Yag. Okay, these two yag basically performed by the ruler for their prosperity, for their ruling stability, and for their importance as a ruler. Okay, so these were all about yajnas and sacrificial rituals. Now the oral traditions. Actually, in the Vedic culture, we had a culture of transmitting the things orally before establishing or writing things. Like the Vedas were first transmitting by orally form, and then they were writing down on the papers. Got it? Later Vedic period, as I have told you already, that we had developed several things like Brahmanas, like you can say Brahmanas, and then let me write it down here so that you can understand properly. Sorry. Brahmanas, these are the philosophical texts. Then we have Upanishads. These were also ritual and philosophical texts. Then we have Aryankas. These for people of forest, like they were people who living in forest, so that they can use Aryankas. Got it? So these were the basic later Vedic period texts. Okay. Transition to classical period, like the Indus Valley civilization. Vedic period marked the transition from the early Vedic culture to classical period of Indian civilization. Principles and ideas presented in Vedas laid the foundation for Hindu philosophy, ethics, and spirituality. As we know that the Vedas are basically performed in Hindu culture. Got it?